Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is another scary story from our archive. If you would like to submit a story to us, visit our website. Today's story is from a writer. Let's read it. Lucas had never heard of Hollow Creek Sanatorium until the letter arrived. It was old, yellowed, and addressed to his grandfather who had been dead for over 2 decades. The wax seal was cracked, but still visible. Inside a single message: "He is waking. Return before the voice consumes everything." First, Lucas thought it was a joke, but the name Hollow Creek sparked something. A search led him to a shuttered asylum in the northern woods, closed since 1972 after a series of mysterious disappearances. The deeper he looked, the more questions emerged. Why did nobody talk about it? Why was there no record of who owned the land now? Couldn't ignore the pull. Packed his camera, a flashlight, and a notebook, then drove through the fog-drenched forest. By the time Lucas reached the end of the gravel road, twilight had bled into night. Before him loomed the imposing structure of the St. Alistair Psychiatric Institute, stark silhouette against the bruised sky. The wrought iron gates were rusted and twisted as if in a perpetual struggle to break free from their confines. Ivy strangled the iron, and a half-rotten sign clung to the entrance like a forgotten relic. Hope, all is well. No, it wasn't all well. He could feel it in the unsettling stillness that pressed against him like a shroud. The moment he stepped onto the cracked path, his phone lost signal. The forest behind him went still, unnaturally silent. No birds, no wind, just the deep hum of something watching. As he ventured deeper into the asylum grounds, the air grew perceptibly colder. Lucas shivered, pulling his jacket tighter. The main building loomed ahead, its shadowed windows like vacant eyes staring into his soul. The smell hit him then, a cloying blend of mold, rust, and something metallic, almost like blood. Taking a deep breath, he pushed open the heavy oak door, bracing for creaks and groans. But the entry was unnervingly silent, amplifying the pounding of his own heart. Inside the lobby was a cavernous space, its vastness accentuated by the thick dust motes dancing in the faint beam of his flashlight. Straight ahead, double doors were ajar, offering a glimpse of a padded room beyond. To his right, a staircase spiraled upwards, disappearing into the gloom. As he moved further into the lobby, the floor beneath his feet groaned, a sound both alien and unsettling. He could hear his own footsteps echoing back at him, as if there were multiple versions of himself walking alongside. Drawn to the staircase, Lucas started to climb. The air grew colder with every step. The banister was slick to the touch, and as he placed his hand on it, he noticed a small indentation as if from a fingernail. It was smooth and cold, devoid of any texture. Lucas hesitated, a prickle of unease racing up his spine. Suddenly, a crash from above made him jump. Heart pounding, he continued upward. On the second floor, the corridor stretched before him, dimly lit by the sliver of moonlight filtering through grimy windows. As he walked, the metallic scent intensified, mingling with the musty odor of decay. The walls were adorned with faded graffiti, most of it indecipherable, but some bearing chilling messages. "Beware the whispers, he watches. Don't turn around." A chill snaked down Lucas's spine. The hairs on the back of his neck stood on end. At the end of the corridor, he found a set of double doors flanked by 2 smaller ones. The larger doors were locked, but one of the smaller ones was ajar, revealing a glimpse of darkness within. Curiosity and a morbid fascination compelled him forward. He pushed the door open and stepped inside. The room was empty except for a large metal table and a single chair bolted to the floor. On the table, Lucas found a leather notebook and a silver locket. As he reached for the notebook, it sprung open, revealing pages filled with frantic scribbles. The entries detailed a descent into madness, hearing voices in the walls, seeing shadows out of the corner of his eye. The last entry ended abruptly mid-sentence, as if the writer had been interrupted. The locket was cold to the touch, and when Lucas opened it, he found a faded photograph of a young girl with haunting eyes. Beneath her image was an inscription: "To my sweet Eleanor, may you forever find peace." A sob escaped Lucas's lips. He slammed the locket shut, feeling a sudden surge of protectiveness. He didn't know this girl, yet her sadness resonated within him like a half-remembered dream. Suddenly, the air grew frigid, temperature plummeted, causing Lucas to instinctively pull his jacket tighter. Spun around, his flashlight beam slicing through the darkness. Nothing. The scraping sound came again, this time closer. Something was in the room with him. Fear propelled him toward the door. Stumbled, nearly knocking himself unconscious. As he regained his balance, he realized the door was ajar, wider now than when he had entered. Adrenaline pumping, he rushed out, slamming the door behind him. He raced down the stairs, desperate to escape the oppressive atmosphere of the building. As he stumbled into the lobby, he saw them, the doctors and the patients, all staring at him with vacant eyes. Their smiles were grotesque, their gazes unsettling. A cacophony of laughter erupted, echoing through the vast space. Lucas turned and fled, crashing through the front doors. Outside, the fog was thicker now, swirling around his legs like grasping fingers. He didn't stop running until he reached his car. Gasping for breath, he fumbled with his keys, his hands shaking. Finally, he was inside and away from the asylum. Safe in his own home, Lucas tossed restlessly in bed. Sleep evaded him. His mind replayed the events of the day, each image more disturbing than the last. He decided to return to the asylum tomorrow. There had to be more answers, more explanations. Morning arrived gray and heavy with the promise of rain. Lucas, armed with a backpack filled with supplies, retraced his steps to Hollow Creek. The asylum loomed before him, unchanged, unyielding. He knew exactly where to go. The padlock on the main door had been crudely smashed. Lucas hesitated, his apprehension growing. This was madness, should turn back. But the need for answers held him fast. Deeper inside the asylum, Lucas found a row of filing cabinets. Most were empty or water-damaged, but one drawer slid open smoothly. Inside was a file labeled, Patient 063. The entries were chilling. Repeated mentions of hearing the voice behind the walls. Descriptions of a corridor that didn't exist on any blueprint. The last note scrawled in red, "He walks between the cracks." As Lucas stood to leave, a door appeared where there had only been wall. It was narrow and cold air hissed out from underneath. He opened it and entered a corridor that felt wrong. Longer than the building should allow, dimly lit, with numbered doors that seemed to change each time he blinked. His steps echoed as if someone walked behind him. Then he heard his name, whispered softly, "Luwu. Kas." He spun around. No one. The walls felt closer, like they were bending inward. He entered what used to be a therapy room. The center stood a mirror draped in black cloth. He uncovered it, and didn't see himself. He saw himself strapped to the therapy chair, eyes stitched shut, mouth wide in a scream of silence. Then the mirror cracked. It pulled him in. On the other side, he was inside the sanatorium, but it was alive. The walls blinked, doors breathed. The floor shivered under his steps. He ran, but every direction led to more madness, more voices. An exit sign flickered in the distance. He sprinted, door opened, light, freedom. He burst through and found himself back in the lobby. Doctors walked by, nurses smiled politely. A man in a white coat approached. "Lucas," he said, "you're awake. Let's get you to your session." Lucas looked down. His arms were restrained. His reflection in the glass wall showed a hospital gown. The name tag on the doctor's clipboard read, "Room 063. The recorder, somehow back in his hand, clicked on again. His own voice spilled out, trembling. "If anyone finds this, don't listen to the whispers. They crawl into your thoughts. They change you. They make you forget." He felt something crawl beneath his skin. The whispers had taken root. Now Lucas sits in a cell. He doesn't remember who he was. He just listens. The walls speak to him now. He is patient 063. And outside the gates, a new letter forms on cracked stone. He is waking. Return, before the voice consumes everything. But someone will open it. They always do. That was a scary story from our archive. If you would like to submit a story to us, visit our website.